Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome and welcome back to Cover Brand. I am Ethan Decker, and today I have John Tayer on the show for a little bit of shop talk. John, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you.
You look really relaxed there in your shirt and tie. Oh, well, that's the finishing of the relaxing picture is you've got a little something, a little tipple in a glass.
Smooth out the rough edges.
It's the end of the day, so it's appropriate.
Yep.
No judgment if it's also how you start your day, but nonetheless, what's in your glass?
This would be Old Granddad.
Oh, very nice.
2014. So.
Very nice. Classic. Oh yeah. Old Granddad. That's a beautiful bottle.
You know, we don't have fancy imports or nothing.
You know, you don't need fancy if you just want a little end of day brown liquid in your glass. I'm also partaking here, joining the festivities from Pits and Stems, the best speakeasy in Boulder. And I've got an interesting bottle. It's the Cairo Distillery. And I think they're either Finnish or, yes, they are Finnish, from Finland.
Wow.
And they happen to make a malted rye peat smoke whiskey. I know, it's a mouthful. So malted rye, but then they smoke it over a peat fire in Finland, which I guess they've got peat bogs in Finland. What do you know? I don't know.
I imagine a wet climate.
Yeah. I mean, Scotland is famous for its peated whiskey, but at least one distillery in Finland is playing the game. And I must say, it's not bad. So cheers to the end of the day.
All right. Cheers to you.
Before we cover brand stuff, we've got to cover band stuff. So, John,
Sure.
Let's talk cover songs.
Yes, sir.
Is there a particular cover song that you wanted to mention for the show?
Well, the one that comes to mind, and just off the top of my head, looking at my name on the screen here, Johnny Be Good.
Okay, you're talking about the original Chuck Berry, which of course is from the 50s?
Seemingly, yes.
Yeah, probably. And it's probably been covered at least 100 times. Which version are you thinking of?
Well, for those who know me, they know that I have a penchant for all things Grateful Dead. And I understand that the Grateful Dead have covered Johnny Be Good.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Okay. The Dead famously covered a lot of stuff too, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Sure did you see them when they came to Folsom Field?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Each
Good.
time, for sure.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Loved it. Want them.
Yeah.
Want whatever iteration of them back.
whatever undead are still walking the earth.
Yeah.
You want them to come back. Yeah.
Cheers to them.
Yeah. Cheers to them. Yes. Cheers to the dead. Raise a glass to the dead. And we will cue up Johnny Be Good. I imagine their version does not have any of the rabid energy of Chuck Berry's version, but it's just more enjoyable and fun and chill and happy.
Melodic, bopping around.
Yeah.
Just my style. I will say that I was noticing the front cover of, the cover, branding cover.
The show.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was looking at it, and we had been talking about Pink Floyd, and I noticed what appears to be a branding element associated with
Indeed.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that's the first time it's been mentioned on the show, John, that the cover of Cover Brand, the thumbnail, is itself a cover of a cover. It's a cover of an album cover, and it is, of course, the famous Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
But if you're going to reference something more famous than you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
subjective.
Okay, so we will add Johnny Be Good, the Grateful Dead version, to the Cover Brand cover song playlist that we've got going on Spotify, so we can all listen to it afterwards. Thank you for bringing that one. Cheers. And we'll be right back after these messages with more from John Tayer. Do you want more help with your own marketing challenges, but you're not ready to hire Applied Brand Science? Then consider being a guest on Cover Brand. you get 30 minutes to talk with me about your branding problems for the low, low price of one cover song and laughing about it. Email info@appliedbrandscience.com to get on the show. And we're back. So, John Tayer, let's get into covering some cover brand stuff instead of cover band stuff.
Sure.
I know you from Boulder. Here, I live here as well, and you run the Boulder Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been running the Boulder Chamber?
13 years now.
Okay.
This visit. Yeah.
All right. And at this point, I would assume you understand not just the Boulder Chamber, but chambers in general.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that fortunately, the chamber universe is highly collaborative, and just there's a sense of community amongst chambers and understanding that it's a difficult business to operate and that we can all learn from each other's strategies and techniques. The sort of somewhat famous line, or I think it's I think a rule of thumb is rip off and duplicate is a something R&D oriented for
R&D. Oh, yes, the other type of R&D, rip off and duplicate.
Yep.
So, okay, so then for those who don't understand what a Chamber of Commerce does on the day-to-day,
Sure.
and there are chambers of commerce all over the country, right?
Yep, indeed.
I would imagine they're some of the oldest organizations still working.
Oh yeah, since the 1300s.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
In Europe,
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, that also explains the stodgy name. Welcome to the Chamber of Commerce.
Exactly. Connotes sort of darkness, medieval period. Yeah.
So, okay, so you've been with the Boulder Chamber for 13 years, and it doesn't go by Boulder Chamber of Commerce, or does it?
Well, we use Boulder Chamber.
Okay.
It's, I think, somewhat to step aside from some of the history of chambers of commerce and a little bit of the sort of myopic perspective of chambers focused only on business, not on the sort of broader community interests and the trade-offs that make a successful economy.
Okay, so let's talk about this because it's a reputational issue for not just the Boulder Chamber, but apparently a lot of other chambers.
Yeah.
And reputation is brand. So this is squarely a branding challenge or a branding problem or whatnot.
Yeah.
In your sense of it, and you've been talking, like you said, with a lot of other chambers, what are the pros and cons of the image of a chamber of commerce? Like, what are the upsides of when people think of a chamber of commerce? What are the good things they think? And on the flip side, what are the bad things they think?
Sure. Well, I'll say, just reflect on just what my impression is that chambers reflect the character, or should reflect the character of their community. So in some communities, the historic brand of a chamber organization as a chamber of commerce and thoroughly focused on the business, hardcore business support, absent other trade-offs. Probably fits that community's character. But there's, I'd say, many more chambers in communities where they're more innovative cultures, a little bit more, I'd say, progressive spirit to them, where there's a recognition that success of the business interests and the need for overall economic vitality of a community depends on things like stewardship of the environment and social equity and those other trade-offs. But I think where we're going with this conversation, chambers can carry into that community dialogue and into the consciousness of the community that they're trying to support, the legacy of some of the more historic, less balanced perspective.
Right. So let's okay. So if we get specific for a second, let's just pretend the Chicago Chamber of Commerce, founded in 1711. I don't know. I just made that up.
Chicago
before
was just not highly populated in 1711, as my understanding. But
Okay, that might be a little early. Let's say 1811. How about that?
perfect.
Okay, they're booming. 1811, early United States. It's the opening of the interior, and all they care about is the engine of economics, right? The economic activity, the Chamber of Commerce. Let's make money. Oil barons, steel barons, and pave over land, pave over people, pave over indigenous folks, pave over rights. That's the feeling and the vibe of what a Chamber of Commerce might be all about, right? Let's get the heads of industry together to grow.
I will say again, reflecting historic values and
Sure.
Probably in those era, their perception wasn't as wide as we would want it to be. That's
Right,
for
absolutely. But that is why the notion of a Chamber of Commerce today might have some of this baggage.
I think that's accurate. Yep.
Yeah. And it might also be connected to the fact that a Chamber of Commerce might be well represented by those in economic power and maybe political power within cities as well. So it's often, right, powerful people who,
True. I would say intriguing, but I'd say again, it reflects the character of the community. In that the political folks that they would be associating with would have a parallel to the values that are probably inherent in that community.
So then when modern chambers like yours, the Boulder Chamber, look to attract membership, engage the community, create thriving programming, all of those kinds of things, are there indeed still aspects of the past, the shadow of the past, or this issue of the unabashed capitalist that color people's perceptions of chambers of commerce?
I would say that that's accurate. And what that can do is cut off from association with the chamber some of the businesses that themselves are more balanced and thoughtful in terms of their own values and their interest in making sure that they're not just about the success of their business, though it's fully critical, but that they are sensitive to the impact that they have on society.
Right. Okay. So you have definitely, and you've said it, you've circled it in several different ways. This notion that the evolution of a chamber of commerce does well by embracing more than just top line or bottom line goals. Besides financial goals, or understands that even financial goals are impacted by things like the environment, great parks, civic services like buses, and social justice and things like that.
There's a virtuous circle and support for each other. I also just mention one other element that is maybe a burden of just the historic nature of chambers and their role in communities, and that there's a sense that, and it's often brought up, but it's sort of like the chambers, like your father's Oldsmobile. It's what people used to do was join a chamber, but now there's other competing associations and interest groups that support businesses, but in a different manner.
That's a great metaphor. I would assume that you and other folks from other chambers have discussed that metaphor together, maybe over other cocktails.
Oldsmobiles, for some reason, are associated with the chamber. I don't know whether Oldsmobiles appreciate that, but since they're no longer around, it's a one that is brought up repeatedly. Yes.
That's a great example. And for those listeners from outside the U.S., Oldsmobile was a brand of car, a famous brand of car. I'm looking it up right now. Founded in 1897. that's ancient. And then it became a division of General Motors and was finally shut down in 2004. So it had over 100 years of life, which is pretty darn good for any company. I mean, really.
It is good. It is good.
But there was a time.
Here's a branding issue, just to be clear.
Yeah, right. Because eventually Oldsmobile was seen as stodgy and old,
Yeah.
and as your father's brand, your father's car, and not the car for you. So when you talk to other folks from other chambers, how far do you take that metaphor in terms of the brand image, the types of drivers, aka members of chambers, the vehicles themselves, aka the product you build, and then the brand name, aka Oldsmobile versus Chambers of Commerce? Have you made all those parallels, or have you had conversations about any of those?
I just think it's the notion of the parallel to something that used to be a style that mattered, and a vehicle that was impressive, and supported your identity, positive identity. But now people have moved on from it, and it's no longer hip, cool. Thing.
Do you, what's the opposite of Oldsmobile in the world of the chambers? You know, if classic stodgy Chambers of Commerce are like the classic stodgy Oldsmobile, my dad's car.
Yeah.
And today we might think of things like the Tesla and the Rivian and maybe Audi as sexy and new.
Yeah.
You know, is there such a thing as a Tesla or an Audi of the economic community world?
So funny you say that. I don't think everybody's ever said, but this is the car we want to be associated with. I have not heard that. I think it's more, what are we trying to not be? And how do we project an image that is more current, that has a more, lack of a better word, sexy personality, that is a magnet for a new generation of business leaders.
Yes. And so there are many thoughts. But if we keep going with this metaphor, right, Oldsmobile is one brand, and there are other cars people can buy, and they bought cars that they thought were cool. Are there other economic communities or economic systems, not systems, that's the wrong word, economic associations? Like, is there a tech startup community, or the Denver Business Development Alliance? I don't even know what it would be called. Are there alternatives? I mean, quite frankly, is there an alternative to a Chamber of Commerce if you're a company looking to join a group?
Yeah, sure. There are, I would say, as I think I mentioned earlier, there are competing associations, and everything from different characters of business networking groups to industry associations that are associated with new technologies and industry sectors that are modern in nature.
So is there a sexy Tesla out there in the world that maybe the Googles and the Twitters and the Pelotons of the world would rather join than the Chamber of Commerce in their community?
I'd say it's maybe not even so much necessarily of a sexier, but it's a fractionalization. It's folks looking at their industry and saying, hey, I want to identify and align with the people who are the movers and the leaders in this particular industry, be it clean tech, be it technology, quantum, whatever it is. That's a competition with something that I think is missed in that conversation is the ability to collaborate and coordinate across industry sectors that I think chambers are most effective at. They can lift all industries.
This is fascinating. So you have, okay, so there's no necessarily direct competitor to a chamber of commerce in a given city.
Not,
Or have
I'd
you
say-
heard of any in any towns?
Yeah, they're not in the precise way
Huh.
that I'm thinking about. I mean, in some
Yeah.
towns, I will say that there's the chamber, and then there's an economic development association.
Okay.
The Boulder Chamber is the umbrella that is the business association and the economic development agency. So
Sure.
we wear both hats, but in some communities, there is competition between the economic development organization that draws in memberships and sponsorships and then
Okay.
the chamber. And
Okay.
that can be challenging because in many ways it is a more attractive to be associated with the economic development arm and some of the larger institutional
There you
businesses.
go. Okay, and has there been an attempt by any organization to be even cooler and sexier than that and take over what chambers do, like the growth hacking hub of San Francisco? Of course, it's got to be somewhere like Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah, so I'm not being from Silicon Valley. I've not heard of the growth hacking hub.
I just made
Whatever
it
that
up.
was. It sounded sexy to me. In fact,
Yeah.
we might be looking to change our name here, but that is not something that I've heard of. I mean, I don't know of
Okay.
anything that serves as the unified voice and support agency for all businesses across industry sectors.
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting problem, John.
Yeah.
That chambers are operating under this long shadow of a history and operating in a current environment where people are asking more or hoping for more from their business community than just economic results. And you've found some solutions to that in terms of, well, let's expand our remit. Let's expand the kinds of things we consider beyond just economic results. Let's look at environmental. Let's look at social capital, things like that. And yet there's still this shadow, like the Oldsmobile. This is the Oldsmobile problem. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the reason Oldsmobile ultimately died was they believed they had to stay true to their core customer, and they aged with their customer.
Yeah.
Right? So Oldsmobile said, well, our customer's now 35. We got to be like a 35-year. Now they're 40. We got to appeal to 40-year-old tastes. Now they're 50. We got to appeal to 50-year-old tastes. And they aged up because that's what they saw their core being. Nike is a great example of the opposite. Nike says, we're going to engage with people emotionally in their teens and 20s. And if you feel like you age out and you got to get something more comfortable like Skechers or something more professional like Cole Haan, go for it. But we're always going to be at the crest of this wave where there's excitement and energy and athletic passion and athletic skill. You know, so many athletes in their 20s, and even now in global football in their teens. So in a way, it doesn't sound like chambers have adopted that mentality of let's stay fresh and always stay focused on the new and the young, or have chambers grown with their cohort, and that's why they do feel like your father's brand. They feel like they're old.
You know, it's hard to generalize because I'd say that there's a number of different strategies that chambers have used, and I'd say that we've adopted our own methodology, and what is it fun? I think actually an interesting example the Nike one that you used, because at its core, it is athletic performance.
Correct.
And meeting the demands of the generations of athletes. Well, you know what? Fundamentally, the business of chambers hasn't changed. I mean, it's
Right.
still, in fact, sometimes I joke that it's, we are the best at the old school.
Right.
Where
Right.
we bring people together with real human
Mm-hmm.
interaction,
Mm-hmm.
which I sometimes think people are starving for. Um,
Yeah.
but it's networking, it's advocacy for business interests,
Yep.
it's thinking about the future direction of our economy and supporting it in a positive
Right.
way.
Right.
But I think it's the packaging of it to some
Mm-hmm.
extent. How do you communicate what you do?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the branding element
Yeah.
comes in. But there's also an element of how do you weigh policies and
Yeah.
what it means to advance business interests.
Right.
That is, I think, where there's the opportunity to break away from the
Yeah.
historic.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say to keep pushing on the Oldsmobile metaphor, which I think is brilliant, is do you need to update the product so it's more relevant to new generations of business people? Right? Does the actual programming need to change? Do the types of services and activities need to actually change so that the Oldsmobile of today feels fresh and exciting and new?
Yeah.
And that might, scare some of the old guard.
Hmm.
And it's even to the level of, to take it really crass, all the young, hip tech people are very casual. They wear t-shirts, they wear sneakers, they dress down.
Hmm.
And does the old guard of Chambers, do they still dress up, dress formally, even for networking events? Right? There you go. You're wearing a shirt and a tie. Is that a tie tack or a bar?
It's a tie bar.
A
Yes.
tie bar. Case in point, my friend. You are nailing it. Yes. And is that a pink shirt, or I can't tell on the color? It's a white shirt.
It is it's striped pink and blue,
Okay, there you go.
sort of festive, almost probably holiday-esque in my
Nice.
attire today.
Nice. Nice.
But I do have jeans on, which I think
Okay.
creates
Okay.
a dual branding appeal
Yes.
here.
Yes. Well, that's and that gets to the second point. The first point was really about the product, so to speak, the actual services you offer. Are the services, programming, functions of the chamber useful and relevant
Yeah.
to modern companies? And that
Yeah.
would be the first. And why are they drifting? If they're drifting to other organizations, what are they getting there? And why
Yeah.
aren't you serving them here with that stuff? So if
Sure.
they're going to Boulder Startup Week, or if they're going to Boulder Tech Association, or the Boulder Young Economic Forum, what is it that they're getting there that they're not getting from the chamber? And that's
Yeah.
a sign that your services are out of whack, out of sync with the modern world. But then it gets to the second question of just the haircut or the outfit. And this is powerful, potent symbolism, right? You've got a shirt and tie with a tie bar, and I'm wearing a track jacket, a bright orange, of course, track jacket with jeans as well. So we've got the jeans in common.
Yep.
But the look, the facade, the outfit does connote a lot of symbolic meaning.
Sure.
And it's why everybody in business knows you have to dress for success. You have to dress for the occasion properly. And so in that regard, are there things you could do to the chamber that are like tweaking your outfit, adjusting your haircut, right?
Yeah.
At some point, I heard this joke. I don't know, John, if you've heard this. Men know that they are in style when they're very uncomfortable in the pants that they're wearing. And as soon as men become comfortable with the pants they're in, they're out of style. So either they're too baggy, or they're too loose, or they're too tight, or they're too short, or they're too,
Sure.
And
The good thing is I don't ever change my attire, so I've probably been in and out of style a couple of times.
Right. They come back around.
Exactly.
Yes, they do come back around. But this is an example I like, this metaphor of the clothing, that your brand is a lot like your clothes.
Yeah.
And when you show up wearing your father's clothes to college with the college kids, and you want to be like, hey, kids, I'm hip. They say, okay, grandpa, okay, boomer, okay, okay, dad. And that is definitely a branding problem in the sense of it's your image getting in the way of you connecting to your audience.
It is an interesting,
right?
It is. I totally hear it. It's a very interesting question you pose. I mean, because are you playing to their perception of what is cool and now and hip that they want to be a part of, or is there an element of it that you also have to signal that this may be something that they should also consider is an element of professionalism that would come with, developing your business sensibilities and that sort of thing.
Right.
So it's an interesting, because you don't want to, be that walking around with, pants down your ankles or something, whatever.
Sure, exactly.
That kind of thing. I mean, listen. I mean, the unique thing about Boulder, I'll just say it, is the very successful, multi-billionaire, whatever. They're walking around in T-shirts, and yet there are professionals who are, leaders of organizations, et cetera, who
correct
wear suits and ties. So
correct,
you got to balance that as well.
Yep.
And so how do you and we're just talking about dress here, but overall using that as a metaphor for how do you show up as an organization?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the same could be said about office spaces.
Yeah.
That if the young people, so to speak, gravitate towards modern, fresh-looking office spaces, like cool, hip co-working spaces in cool neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And other folks in the older generations are used to cubicles and traditional offices and office parks. And if you want to attract, or if you want to seem like you're with the times, if you want to seem relevant, it behooves you to do some of those things that are of the times.
Yeah.
And not just get out the same shoes that you wore for the past 40 years because they've always been good.
Yeah. True.
Rumor
the same time not look like, say it like a frat house or something like that.
Amen.
That's not, that may be comfortable and inviting, but yet doesn't connote that level of professionalism.
Right. I have found, speaking of literal clothes, I have found a happy medium with my stuff. I wear a track jacket, but I'll wear a collared shirt underneath.
Yeah.
I'll wear very nice slacks, and then I'll wear matching orange and white, very nice sneakers.
Yeah.
And I look like I'm not just a schlub and not just a kid. What my metaphor is, I look like the manager of the soccer team, or the coach. You've seen basketball coaches have changed their look, right?
Yeah.
That's a great example. Basketball coaches always used to wear suits. Always, always, always. And now there's a range from wearing suits to wearing essentially tracksuits.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to find something that works for you, but you also, and it behooves you to find something that works with your audience if you want to be seen as relevant to your audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where Chambers should go out and get a stylist to make them look more modern.
Yeah.
And that's
stylist. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I mean. Is it's a branding problem. So the brand has to be updated. I don't know if that goes so far as to say we need a new name, because at some point there was no resuscitating Oldsmobile. There's nothing that, and for better and worse, it's literally in the name, old.
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce is not quite there, but it's an interesting term. But short of renaming it, and I know you say it's just the Boulder Chamber, so that it also feels a little different, a little interesting. The new chamber is the chamber, and it becomes a little more of an abstract word than Chamber of Commerce, which sounds like the Department of Education. But if you're seeing a gap between what you want and your audience, then it behooves you to figure out how to close some of that gap through symbolic and substantive changes that show that you're more relevant to them.
Yeah. Yep. Completely
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's an interest. I mean, listen, we're navigating in our
Mm-hmm.
own way,
Yep.
but it is a universal issue, I would say, that is as the fact that we have that symbolism of the Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
It is more ubiquitous, and how do you then, like, what is it that you begin to do as chambers, or maybe chambers writ large, to communicate this new, more sort of current
Right.
image to
Yeah.
to the audience that you want to attract.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a hell of a branding problem, and a fun one.
Yeah.
To say, how deep does it have to go? Does it go into the product? Here's another great example, actually, John. You might have heard of this one. It's very recent. Jaguar. Jaguar is a expensive luxury vehicle, I think traditionally made in England. So, with the actual Jaguar on the hood of the car, right? The hood ornament. And they recently seemingly did a complete 180, and now they're sexy and sleek and modern and all electric. And they had a year where they didn't produce a single vehicle because they had to revamp all their production to create sexy new modern electric vehicles. And lots of people said, well, they're going to alienate their old customers and they're not going to pick up new customers. But the truth is, if their old customers are dying off and the car company is dying off and the sales are declining, then that's the wrong thing to do. You don't want to. You need to rejuvenate and show that you're contemporary and modern. And Jaguar was an extreme version, but I would imagine that there would be fun things to learn about what chambers could do, short of changing their name, to feel contemporary, to feel modern, and to provide services that feel modern, contemporary, and relevant to all the businesses you're trying to attract. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say the last sort of balance here is
Yep.
that chambers do still speak to a opportunity for businesses who are trying to find their way.
Yes.
And there is an element of the generational connection and the history that a parent might pass on to their kids. Like, hey, go check in at the chamber. They might know how to help your business. That kind of.
Totally. Oh no, I've worked with you enough, and I've worked with the chamber enough to know the value of the chamber and the value of classic and traditional chamber membership and members. And you're right. The mentorship and the tutelage and the wisdom. Fads come and go, but these hard-nosed principles of business and intelligent principles about business networking and how to get things done in a city and in a community and how to grow, that stuff is incredibly powerful. But you're right. There's a little bit of an image challenge to make sure folks see that value and showcase it. That's a fun challenge, but I do think it would be neat to see, to continue the Oldsmobile metaphor and say, well, what organizations out there are offering cars, metaphorically, that are better than ours, that other people want to buy? What brands are out there that are young and sexy versus ours, and what can we learn from them? And if we need to update our look and image so that we don't look like Grandpa, then what could we do to bring it into a little bit more alignment with our customers? Yeah. Fantastic.
I'm waiting for the answer. So TikTok here.
All right, we will get on it. I'll have it for you next time we pour our next glass of whiskey.
Awesome, my friend.
Great to talk to you, John.
Same here, Ethan. Always.
And we will be in touch, and enjoy the rest of that glass right there.
I will. Next one at Pits and Stems.
I'll be here for you.
Cool.
Okay, so
Oh, go ahead.
So when it comes to understanding what are those opportunities out there,
Sure.
and how do you become either more interesting, like what Oldsmobile isn't? So Tesla, what is Tesla doing from a product perspective, or from a service perspective, or from an image perspective? How does the chamber become that?
Yeah.
And I don't know if other chambers have thought of that at all.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. So the joke about chambers is you've seen one chamber, you've seen one chamber, and that is a statement about the uniqueness of every chamber situation, the community they're
Right.
representing, and the character of the community that they need to appeal to or
Right.
respond to their needs.
Right.
That said, I'm sure that there are some fundamental principles that would help chambers think about how do you address the baggage that may be negative that we talked about, appeal to a audience that is changing and is more modern in nature and
Yep.
doesn't want to buy the old Oldsmobile, but
Yep.
at the same time navigate what I think are that is that middle ground of chambers do serve an important purpose that a new business leader would recognize, whether their father told them go check out the chamber or whether it's just because intuitively they need support of the nature of the chamber, but at the same time they don't want to be tied to something that is just historically not in line with their values or isn't the modern hip thing that they want to be associated with.
Here are three thoughts.
Yeah.
Thought one, which is an overarching thought, is go do the market research. And it can be qualitative, it can be informal, but talk to the prospects who you want to join the chamber that don't.
Yeah.
And find out why not, and have a coffee with them and find out what kind of organization would appeal to them, what kind of organization has appealed to them and they have joined. Maybe it's Boulder Startup Week because they feel like they're startup people. Find out what are the negative images about a chamber that they feel stuck on, and then maybe even ask them, when it comes to older things or wisdom things, or what are examples that they are attracted to instead of turned off by.
Yeah.
So if an Oldsmobile felt like a stodgy old car that you didn't want, is there a very old brand that young people do want, like Aston Martin, maybe, or I don't know if Rolls-Royce or Cadillac are that, 100-year-old brands that are still sexy in a way or attractive. And then the third thing you could do is you could do something that brands are very reluctant to do because it exposes them, yada, yada. But I love it. And it's just to be refreshingly honest. And I use those two terms together because honesty is often pretty refreshing in the world of marketing and advertising. One of my favorite examples is Buckley's cough syrup from Canada. Their tagline is basically, tastes terrible, and that's why it works.
Wow.
And one of their slogans is, you'll swear by it and you'll swear at it.
Yeah. Wow.
And they admit that it tastes awful, and they run with that. They embrace it, and they say, you're right. Tastes like crap, but it's going to fix you.
Yeah.
And there's an element of embracing who you are and being a little refreshingly honest about it. So it's almost like you could say stodgy, but in all the best ways.
Yeah.
Or stodgy, but we open doors.
Oh, brilliant. I get the nuance there. Really well.
The tie might be uncomfortable on you, but growth looks good on you, right?
Yeah.
and that notion of, right, you think we're this way, and we are this way, but that's because we're old fuckers who get shit done.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm not an old fucker, but speaking of others metaphorically, I got you.
I know, and it's true. And depending upon who these companies are that you're trying to court, big tech companies are not necessarily run by young people, of course. But it is that feeling of...
that recipe resonates with me.
You know?
Very good, yeah.
And it's a fun ownership of who you are that then allows it's disarming. Like I say, it's refreshingly honest, and allows you to talk about the elephant in the room, and then demonstrate or lean into your real value, which is, we open doors, we make things happen, we find ways through, we help each other, we give you wisdom of decades and decades of experience, all the things that chambers do. And, sometimes we like a scotch at the end of the day, like our grandfather did.
I will say this, it would be fun to bring a group of chamber folks together and have them hear that point that you just raised.
Well, we could do that. If I put a couple more brain cells together, I think I could provide some interesting other strategies for chambers with these branding challenges. But the refreshing honest one is a really fun approach to deal with a blemish on your brand, to deal with an issue or the elephant in the room. It takes a light touch, of course, but it takes a little nerve, because people don't like to point out the obvious negatives. Try and cover them up.
I love it.
Yeah.
You do brand science, my friend.
This is what we do. What we do.
I love it.
All right.
Well, cheers.
Great talking with you.
Thank you.
Cheers to you, John. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you soon in town.
Cool.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the podcast. And if you want to learn more about brand science, head on over to appliedbrandscience.com. Also, if you got something out of this episode, think of one person who might also get something out of it and send it to them as a way of saying, hey, thinking of you.